The biggest trauma, the deepest wound, the most lasting, hardest to overcome wound of the trauma of my childhood, what it was. And it's not what you think. Hi, my name is Valerie. I'm an intuitive energy and spiritual healer, and I have made it my purpose to help people like myself that have experienced childhood trauma to transform their lives from surviving to thriving. And I'm going to really dive deep on that today. There's three themes coming through at this time. The first of which is embracing your authenticity. For me, this comes in the form of the realization that for a long time, I viewed my parents with their spiritual practice, they're being witches, they were Wiccans, they called themselves witches, they had a coven, like the whole 9 yards. And I responded to that from a place of hurt, of anger. I pushed it away. By pushing something away, we're actually giving it more energy. And I was actually pushing away part of myself. Here's the realization that came through for me. Like I kind of knew it in my brain a little bit, but I didn't really realize that, like, holy shit, I've always been a witch. I was a witch before my parents were witches. I was playing at being witch, like preschool age, make-believe time, and playing that we were witches. I spontaneously, without ever telling anybody, without anybody knowing, without any guidance, spontaneously did my first healing when I was 8 years old. If my parents, it was like a paradigm shift, a 180. Maybe my parents were led into Wicca because I was in their family. Like this person was born into their family and it brought this awareness. Or maybe I chose to be born into this family knowing this would be the background that I would have, because as fucked up as it was, it did lay the groundwork for who I am and who I want to be and who I am, which is a powerful healer, a metaphysician, a bit of a mystic and a psychic. And like I can embrace that and just be that. And that's so much more empowering than saying my parents were witches and they were weird and they made my life hell. And like, I'm not even going to go there anymore. And this brings me to my second point is we have an annular eclipse when the moon moves in front of the sun and it blocks out the sun's light, but not all of it. There's like a ring of sunlight. It's the upper reaches, the outer higher atmosphere of the sun that is visible for astronomers only during an annular eclipse, because it blocks out the disk of the sun, the really bright, intense stuff, and allows them to see that outer atmosphere, those higher levels. Those higher levels are always there, but during an eclipse they can see it. And that's the effect that it's having on people. People I've talked to, my friends, my family, everybody, me especially. I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck? How did I not see this before? How did I not? It's so obvious. It's like a fish in a fishbowl full of water. Like, it doesn't know that it's swimming in water. It's just surrounded by it. This eclipse energy allows us this, and this is my second theme, is this new clarity, a new ability to perceive things from a different viewpoint. For me, this came in the form of actually trying to shoot a video and trying to find the right way to address, like, I've defined myself. I've defined myself as a healer and a bit of a coach and a guide for people who are living with the experience of childhood trauma, CPTSD, because that's what I have been. That's what I know. That's my experience that I can share with people. My mess is my message. But I realized that that was too narrow a definition. If I really sink into it, if I claim my inner witch and take this new clarity, I can see that really everybody has some form of trauma. Now, I don't mean to compare apples and oranges here. Yes, I know that there's a really horrible, traumatic experiences that happen to people because some of them happened to me. But I've also learned in trying to relate to people through this trauma-informed lens is that everybody can relate to that. Our culture, our society, going back for hundreds and hundreds of years, has been traumatizing us collectively. We have all suffered the oppression, the racism, the sexism, the ageism, you name it. No wonder I didn't want to claim to be a witch. Look what they do to witches, or did. Thank God it's a little safer now. I talked to my kid this morning. He's talking about what it's like being a young trans parent in a relatively small, backwards, rural sort of metropolis, right, in the Midwest. Like, what is that like? It's all the capitalist patriarchal trauma that our society imposes on us, and we don't even see it because we don't know anything different. So, new clarity coming through for me in realizing that, like, trauma is the human experience. And my tribe, my people, my viewers are just my people. I could just be talking to Axiom. I could just be talking to Jana. I could just be talking to Karen or dozens of other people, because it's all relevant to all of us, because we all share this common experience. I have a name for people that have experienced no trauma. They are unicorns, because they are that rare. The third theme, the third one I wrote down, was letting go of victimization. It's letting go of those labels. Those labels, whether it's witch, witch, or traumatized person. Letting go of those labels and being authentic and up-leveling your energy, up-leveling your consciousness. There is a spiritual leader out here on the West Coast in LA. Never actually seen him in person, but he was in a movie called The Secret. If you remember that, back in the early 2000s. His name is Michael Beckwith. He's a New Thought leader. One of his ideas that he's written about, it's like these 4 different levels or ways of being in the world. He called them kingdoms, and I've really resisted that term. I just gut level didn't like that. And I realized that, of course, because it's patriarchal, it just the word king and kingdom, it's like the haves and the have-nots. It's just awful. It's capitalistic. I don't like it. Let's just say these are 4 realms of being, 4 levels of awareness, 4 ways of existing in the world. The first one is from that level of being the victim. Life happens to me. And it does. It does some awful shit, right? But you can just stay in that and continue to focus on the outside world and say, this is what is happening to me. I can't help it. I can't do it. Or you can begin to transform it. You can take the pain and the suffering And through spiritual alchemy, you can transform it and make it your strength. And that is what this energy right now is supporting. Being in the first realm is life happens to me. And many, many people, I don't know, maybe most, go through life from that feeling of complete powerlessness. The second realm, dimension, whatever you want to call it, is kind of where I was about 7-8 years ago, just before I moved out here to California. And as I was moving out here to California, I was beginning to raise my consciousness into the second realm, which is this awareness that I can own my own power. I can take control. I can change my thinking to change my perception. You begin to realize that your experience isn't imposed from the outside. You can impose and control what's on the inside, and it will be reflected to you out in the world and what is drawn into your experience. This is when we start to get into things like the law of attraction, manifestation, doing vision boards, with visualization, and about as far as most people ever get with the idea of magic. But it's a more powerful place because you're beginning to have ownership and claim your existence, and life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. Much more powerful place to live from. And then there's the third level. For me, it really happened, it was really helped by the classes at the center where I'm a practitioner, and the practitioner training, actually. I'm not saying that's what you have to do, I'm just saying that's how it was for me. There's many different ways to get here, but it's this realization and this owning of, oh, life doesn't happen to me. Life doesn't happen for me. Life happens through me. Like, I am life. I mean, call it what you want. Call it chi, call it universal life force, call it God, call it the universe, call it spirit. It's happening. It is experiencing this three-dimensional world through my being. I am an emanation and an expression of spirit. Wow, super powerful. And then there's the fourth realm, the fourth level. And I feel like for those of us that have been on a healing journey, a spiritual journey for some time, this is an energy that can really carry you through the rest of the year, is this transformative eclipse energy of moving into the fourth level, the fourth realm, which is that life doesn't happen to me or for me or through me, but as me. This is my true authentic self. I am a witch. I am powerful. I can manifest. I can create. And I'm not saying I'm there. I don't think it's linear either. I don't think you start in one and you just proceed upwards. But, you're back and forth and here and there. And sometimes I still get really triggered. I still can be completely in level one. But at least I've been on the journey of developing that energy and that frequency of these other realms, these other states of being. And I can catch myself. I can catch myself getting caught in victimization. Put it in a different realm. I mean, put it in trauma-informed terms of PTSD, CPTSD. There's grooves in my brain, right? It's all neural pathways, man. There are neural pathways that are so conditioned to be in that state that it's easy to slide back into them. But every time I catch myself and every time I pull back and let go of that, it has less power in my life. Well, I feel like I've kind of been all over the place on this video, but I hope you found it helpful. Just to summarize, You know, I said there were 3 themes. Number 1 is embracing your true self and really acknowledging and owning who you are. For me, it's a witch. For you, maybe it's psychic, maybe it's coach, maybe it's healer, maybe it's teacher or mom or dad or EMT. I don't know, whatever your groove is, but really embracing and owning and honoring that. Number 2 is new clarity, being able to see the things that you just couldn't see before because they were so run of the mill everyday bullshit. You got this bullshit detector on high alert right now and you can use it. And number 3, letting go of victimization. The world is hard enough. We don't need to beat ourselves up. We can own our experience and we can transform it. Well, I've probably babbled on long enough. If you've stuck with me through the whole video and are interested in knowing more about my healing practice, more about my story, I share a lot on my website. I'll leave a link at the top of the description box. I also want to remind you I have an event coming up 2 weeks from today in Encinitas, California, if you're in Southern California. And I'll leave more information, a description, and a link to get tickets. They're on Eventbrite, and I think it's only like $5. So it's kind of a little mini psychic fair with healings and readers, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I hope to see you there. If not, I will see you on the next video. Thank you. Peace.